history loves a famous ruler. Names like Cleopatra, Julius Caesar, and Napoleon echo through time, their stories told and retold. But what about the monarchs who ruled just as fiercely, loved just as deeply, and fought just as bravely only to vanish from memory? The truth is, for every legendary king or queen we remember, there are dozens more whose names have been lost to war, propaganda, or the slow erosion of time. Today, we're bringing these forgotten rulers back into the light because their stories are just as thrilling, just as tragic, and just as important as those of the monarchs we all know. Let's start in ancient Mesopotamia, the cradle of civilization. While many have heard of Sargon of Akkad, the great conqueror who built one of the world's first empires, few know about his daughter, Enheduanna. She wasn't just a princess, she was the high priestess of the moon god Na, a political power player, and the world's first known author. Her hymns and poems were so influential that they were copied and recited for centuries. Yet, while her father's name lives on in history books, Enheduanna's legacy was nearly erased. Why? Because history, especially ancient history, often favored the stories of warriors over poets, conquerors over scholars. Halfway across the world, in 13th century India, another remarkable ruler has been overlooked, Queen Rudrama Devi of the Kakatiya dynasty. In a time when women were rarely allowed to rule, she didn't just sit on the throne, she fought for it. Trained in warfare from a young age, she led armies, fortified cities, and governed with such strength that her enemies respected her. Yet today, her name is barely known outside of southern India. Compare that to Rani Lakshmi Bai, the famous warrior queen of Jhansi, whose rebellion against the British is celebrated. Why does one queen live on in legend while the other fades away? Perhaps because history remembers those who fought against the colonizers more than those who ruled before colonization even began. Africa, too, has its forgotten monarchs. Take Queen Amanirenas of Kush, a one-eyed warrior queen who stared down the Roman Empire and won. When Rome invaded Nubia, expecting an easy victory, Amanirenas led her armies in a brutal resistance. She didn't just defend her land, she attacked Roman forts, captured statues of Emperor Augustus, and buried them beneath her palace steps as a sign of disrespect. After years of war, Rome was forced to negotiate peace on her terms. Yet, while Roman emperors are household names, Amanirenas remains a footnote. Why? Because history is often written by the victors, or in this case, by those who wanted to forget they had ever been challenged. Europe is no different. While kings like Henry VIII and Louis XIV dominate the history books, equally fascinating rulers have been forgotten. Take King Bela III of Hungary, who might have been the richest monarch of the Middle Ages. His treasury was so vast that modern historians estimate his wealth surpassed even that of the legendary King Midas. His court was a center of learning and diplomacy, yet today, few outside Hungary know his name. Then there's Queen Tamar of Georgia, who ruled during her nation's golden age. Under her reign, Georgia expanded its borders, art flourished, and the country became a major power in the Caucasus. Yet, while Elizabeth I of England is celebrated as a great female ruler, Tamar's story remains largely untold outside her homeland. Crossing the Atlantic, the Americas hold their own forgotten monarchs. Takun Yuman, the last ruler of the Kashmaya, led his people against Spanish conquistadors in a desperate fight for survival. His final stand became legend among the Maya, yet his name is rarely mentioned in world history books. Then there's Anacona, the Taino queen of Hispaniola. A poet, diplomat, and leader, she tried to negotiate peace with the Spanish only to be betrayed, captured, and executed. Her story is one of resistance and tragedy, yet it's overshadowed by the narratives of Columbus and courts. Why do we remember the conquerors more than those who fought against them? Even in more recent centuries, rulers who should be remembered have slipped into obscurity. Korea's King Sejong the Great didn't just rule, he revolutionized his kingdom by creating Hangul, the Korean alphabet, so that all his people could read and write. His legacy lives on in every Korean book, newspaper, and text message. Yet how many outside Korea know his name? And then there's Queen Zinga of Ndongo and Matamba, in what is now Angola. For 40 years, she outmaneuvered Portuguese slavers, using every tool at her disposal: diplomacy, espionage, and warfare to protect her people. She was a master strategist, yet her story is rarely told outside of Africa. So why were these rulers forgotten? Sometimes, It was deliberate. Empires that conquered lands often erased the histories of those they defeated, replacing local heroes with their own. Other times, it was simply neglect. Stories passed down orally were lost when languages died out or records were destroyed by time. And sometimes, it's just the way history is written. We remember the rulers who fit the narratives we've been taught, while others fade into the background. That these forgotten kings and queens deserve to be remembered. Their lives were full of courage, intelligence, and resilience, qualities we still admire today. They ruled, fought, and sometimes died for their people, and their stories are just as compelling as those of the monarchs we celebrate. So the next time you hear about a famous ruler, ask yourself, who else should be standing beside them in the history books? Who else's story deserves to be told? The past is vast, and the echoes of these forgotten rulers are still waiting to be heard. Maybe, by remembering them, we can piece together a richer, fuller picture of history, one that includes not just the conquerors, but also those who resisted, those who created, and those who ruled in the shadows. And who knows, perhaps there are still more names waiting to be rediscovered, more stories waiting to be told. If you enjoyed this journey through the lost chapters of history, don't forget to hit the notification bell, because the past is full of secrets, and we're just getting started.
Hey there, if you're enjoying this video and appreciate the effort behind it, don't forget to like this video. It really helps the channel grow, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications so you never miss an update. Oh, and one more thing, share this video with your friends. Spread the love and support. Alright, now let's get back to the video. Let me know if you want any tweaks.